It's that time.
Two-time Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, the G-Man, Gerald Swindle.
Who'd ever dream so many rednecks would come watch one real skinny, goofy redneck weigh in? And I seriously thought like I was jump roping with Taylor Swift for like 6 or 7 hours. I mean, I have skipped docks and rocks, and I've ripped chatter baits and smatter baits and jerk plugs and ripped crankbaits. I caught every fish this week on a half-ounce evergreen chatterbait, the jackhammer. I'm not sponsored by them. I pay $15.99 a piece for them, just like y'all do. I got about $1,100 of them. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was watching Brent Ayler up here, and I was thinking, man, I'm fixing to get beat by a guy wearing skinny jeans, and that's gonna hurt. And I'm just frustrated. If I put on skinny jeans, I'd look like McDonald's straws. I just can't do it. I'm mad that I don't look like that. I'm bow-legged and broke leg, can't hardly walk. People think I just got a swagger. I said, no, I got a bad leg. I'm a pimp with a limp, and I'm proud to be here. Thank you, Toyota. See you guys.
That's right, guys. Welcome back to yet another Thursday night live cast. And we got a great show for you guys tonight. Our special guest is a personality in his own. We've all grown to love him. He's one of the biggest guests that we've had on here. And we know he's going to have some entertaining stories for us. A lot of people in this business take it very seriously. A lot of you folks out there just fish for fun. Well, our guest tonight, he does both. He fishes, he keeps the fun in bass fishing, and it's in professional bass fishing. We're talking about the one and only, the G-Man, Gerald Swindle. All that and a whole lot more tonight, live on Bass 365. You know, there's a whole bunch of different personalities in the world of professional bass fishing. Each one's got their own character, and to each their own. But when you can fish and become a two-time Angler of the Year for Bassmaster and have a great sense of humor about it, that's a whole different ball game altogether. Guys, I'm Mikey Moser, and with me, of course, is the man Ricky B. What's up, Ricky?
What's up, guys? I'm excited about this show tonight. It's going to be a good one.
You know, just getting this show set up, ready for him to come on or whatever, going through some of these old clips of his and even his Instagram, like, you can't help but, like, love the dude. Like, he is funny to the bone. I mean, I literally lost about 45 minutes today just going through his Instagram because I couldn't stop watching what he's got to do. So it is a tremendous pleasure to have him on today. And I know he is a huge fan favorite out there, but he does it so well that, you know, not only the fans love him, he loves interacting with those fans too. He lives and breathes it. So I'm excited, Ricky. I think we should just bring him on and let him steal the show altogether.
I think we ought to get right to it.
All right, guys, here we go. All the way from Gunnersville, Alabama, the G-Man himself. Welcome, Gerald Swindle. What's up, Gerald?
G.
Hey, I've actually swapped counties. I'm actually in Walker County tonight. I'm up by Smith Lake at our farm that Leanne and I own. I'm up in spotted bass territory. I'm just deer hunting.
Oh, there we go.
Gotcha.
Well, dude, we appreciate you coming out.
Hey, man, it ain't no problem. I'm out in the middle of the woods, man. As Riley Green says, I'm out there. I mean, they got my internet service on an extension cord up here, so if it's a little glitchy, it ain't that I forgot to put the little thing in my little, I just ain't got no service. But with Ricky, well, he knows it's in the fishing season, man. I like to put the rods down for a little bit, energize out in the woods. You know, being out here, I think the outdoor lifestyle, when you see it on Instagram, Facebook, it's just that. It's something that they promote. I don't know that it's a bloodline or a true lifestyle, but to me and Leanne, being out here, being alone in the woods or being out at the farm, it's a lifestyle, and it's a great way for us to recharge, regroup, and get ready for the 2021 season. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I can say this, Ricky, so if I can't, I'm sorry, but 2020 been a little old bitch. I'm ready for it to move on. Y'all ready?
That's right, Hammer.
It's been rough between Corona and the world. I'm like, man, I'm ready for 2021 to come on in here.
I'm ready for it too. I know Mikey is. We're
100%.
We're excited about 2021 and what it's going to bring to the fishing world. you guys got your schedule. Looks great. Is there any one tournament that you're looking most forward to?
You know, I looked at them, and I don't know. People don't ever say this because I think sometimes people think, "Well, man, that's being negative," or don't really say that. But there's a few of them that I looked at, and it's like you hit me right in deep with a brick. I'm thinking, really, we going right back there? I mean, when I seen Palaca in February, that can be a disaster. It can be good. You know, we hit one time in 1901 with Dean Rojas down there, and it was good. Since then, when you mess around with Florida in February, it's like a loaded gun. You could get shot. If we hit a cold front, you know, Palaca can be really tough, but it could be great. I'm negative. I'm being realistic. I seen Knoxville and I thought, whoa, I might have to get my snow skis out because that one could be bad. But I get to looking on down the list, and I'm the goofy guy that looks at like Sabine, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got all Hackney on them. I got all big-eyed. I'm going to Sabine. I think there's a few on the list that I look at and think these really. You got Gun, you got Pickett, Henry, the three in Alabama. I mean, there's a couple that I really look at, but I'm looking at Sabine thinking, that's one of them grinders right there, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's right. That's right. Gerald, you know, you've been doing this a long time, and you're able to keep it fun. One thing Mikey and I wanted to talk about is the way the anglers have changed over the years. You know, these young guys coming up are hammers. And what do you see? I mean, why are they so much better than, or seem to be so much better than you know, back 20 years ago?
I think it's pretty simple, man, and I will back that statement that you just said. There's some young guys out here. I'll start by saying that when I come back to the elites, I didn't know a lot of them guys. I didn't, but I sat around and watched them. I thought these guys were legit. Their name might not be Kevin Panion for sure. They know how to fish. I give that. A lot of that is there's so much technology there, guys. Ricky, like yourself, what you've done at Bass East and stuff that y'all do. There's so much YouTube that they can soak in. When I started,
his audio is bad. Gerald, we're losing you on the audio, man. You might have to try to reposition. That's the one thing about it, Mikey. We never know what we're going to get with this service.
Yeah, that's when you're talking live, you got to deal with you roll with the punches, whatever you're going. I feel his pain. I know exactly what he's talking about, though. I'm out in the middle of nowhere too. In fact, that's why I broadcast from my mother-in-law's house.
Easy now. You said your mother-in-law's house. That's sound like you got something going on over in the studio.
Well, we would never ask you to do that, man.
I plugged in and swapped locations. Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit better for sure.
Definitely.
But like Ricky, I think the younger guys have so much more of a learning opportunity. So if a young guy wants to cram in fishing and study, he can soak it up. I mean, like your son, Ricky, he's been around it his whole life.
I see it. He
knows more about what I'm doing, and like I'm out there fishing the opens, and somebody said, a guy walked over, he goes, "Who's this Matt Pingarak guy over here?" I'm like, well, he's probably he knows more about fishing than most people because he's been a sponge of it.
Right.
I credit to where credit's due. The young guys do their homework. Someone said, "Do you think they're as good as the old guys?" They have more opportunity, but they're hungry.
Right.
You know,
right.
So I think the younger generation we're seeing now, Ricky, will break some of the records that we've seen. Will anybody ever break Van Dam's streak? No. Is there many Jordan Lees in the world? No. But there is some sure enough young generation sticks coming at you.
Absolutely.
It's no doubt. I mean, you and Jordan are pretty tight anyway. And I mean, you've kind of seen where he's come from and just how good the kid is. I mean, it's amazing. But hey, we're not here to talk about Jordan. We're here to talk about G.
That's right.
I'm giving props to that younger generation, and the bass schedule I say looks good. I think there's a few there that could be that kind of iffy, could hit or miss, but there's a few of them right there that could be really good tournaments. I think the diversity over the tour is what I really want to see. This last year with COVID and everything, and I've never, it's a little jumping a little bit off subject. I've never had, I fished tournaments almost back to back with the opens and the elites that was true grinders, like as tough as I've ever fished, where you couldn't get a bite. And I told my wife, but I was like, about to break me. People think I like tough tournaments. I like tough tournaments mixed in, but I don't like 6 in a row. That's what 2020 all, and I found myself out at Louisville that night open. I was digging deep mentally, and like I've never dug deep, because what a lot of anglers don't ever talk about is the struggle. Rick, you've probably seen it from being behind stage, where you see guys super high, you see them super low, you see them when they truly melt down when things go wrong. You've probably seen that hot and cold personality, or the struggle mentally that they deal with. I dealt with that at Louisville after day one. I didn't practice for that event. I had 3-7 or something like that, or I nothing. And then the next day, I'm going to the ramp. My nephew was like in 4th or 5th place, I forget. And I so wanted to just load that Phoenix up and come home. Man, if I just left driving right now, I could probably be home by the time I had about a 15-minute drive to the ramp that I dug mentally, spiritually, physically. I talked to myself all the way to the ramp and said, you can't do this. You can't lead by example to this young man and just be so physically worn out you just ready to quit. So by the time I got to psych myself up somehow to put the boat in, I said, hey, Trey, I said, yes, sir. Don't let me run you down. I got a pretty lead.
Gerald, we're losing you again, man.
Oh, my dog jumped up here. My dog stole the signal. Is that better?
I think it's much better. Yeah.
All right. So, I kind of joked with him. I said, old people will cloud up and rain on you, son. But what I had to do at the end of 2020 season, I found myself talking to yourself mentally, like, where are you? Do you still want this as bad as you think you do? Because 6 of those grinders in a row will break you. When I looked at the bass schedule for 2021, I didn't see that many of those in a row. I've never fished 6 grinders in a row where you couldn't get a bite. That'll break about anybody.
Right. Well, the Knoxville one to me is the most interesting one, because that's pretty far north. It could be.
It could be snowing. No, I looked at that. I said, we could be seeing 40-degree water and snowing.
Absolutely.
Those are ones that are physically break you because you can't feel. You hurt so bad. So Knoxville, I will go with you, Ricky. Probably the most interesting one there.
Yeah, I plan on being at that one for sure. But Gerald, you're really known as a junk fisherman, and how does that help you in those grinder tournaments? Not being known as a flipper or a cranker, or is that a benefit?
It was really weird going into these last couple of tournaments this year. Everybody said, man, this is right in your wheelhouse. This is right in your wheelhouse. Like, no, hell no, it ain't. My wheelhouse has been able to get a bite. I mean, we seen them so tough where junk fishing was almost a distraction, because I would struggle so bad to get a bite. I kept swapping up, trying to get a bite. And it seemed like at the end of the tournament, you would find a guy that would just pick up one bait and throw it all day. It's like, hey, this is all I know to do. So I struggled a little bit during those tough grinders mentally. I kind of started getting worked in there around Chickamauga and learning that, hey, don't try to do too much. Just do 2 or 3 things. Junk fishermen, it can be the biggest blessing in bass you ever have. It also can be the biggest curse. And Jesse Wiggins hunts with me a lot, and him and I were hanging tree stands today, and we laugh about it a lot, about as him and I are working together in the woods together. He makes comments. He said, gee, I used to be a really good fisherman until I learned how to fish. And we laugh driving down on the golf cart, and I think there's a lot of sense to that, because the more you learn, the more confusion sets in. And somebody says, what makes some of these rookies tough sometimes? It's because they haven't learned every aspect, every bait technique. They know what they can do, and they don't mess around. So junk fishing can be a little bit of a curse in that you want to do a little too much instead of just bearing down on one thing.
Gotcha.
I hear that for sure. I can understand that. And like what you were saying about these younger generation coming up, I think a big point, and we had a comment on that. Lucky 7 Baits actually said this to us. These young bucks, they have YouTube, they have Bass University, and they've watched you guys for years, so they have a lot more tools to learn from in the first place. And I think that's absolutely, I think that's a big part of these young guys. You know, we deal in social media. You're actually really, really good on your social media out there, but you know, having those tools at their disposal, I think, has got to give them an advantage. It's got to.
I think it does. I think the quick turnaround of it. That's what's so much different from when I was 25 years old. If Rick Clum won a tournament when I was 25, I may have to wait 30 or 40 days to see the TV show or see the magazine. So by the time I read what he wanted on, that pattern was gone. But nowadays, as soon as a guy weighs in, they know that they're biting a DT6, ripping it over the eelgrass in Gunnersville in 48-degree water on 10-pound sunline. They know exactly how you caught them, and they can pick that up. I think the speed in which the information is fed to them, the ability to process it and sort through it, I think makes everybody a better fisherman. You know, I've heard guys that are a little older than me say sometimes, man, I wish these depth finders, I wish we didn't have all this equipment. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, it just makes things different. I'm like, does it make it a disadvantage for you, or you're too hard headed to learn it? But don't be hating on a guy that's 25 years old that you don't know because he put the time in to learn it. So
Right.
I said, I have to really
Absolutely.
check myself sometime at the ramp when I get my ass handed to me by some young guys like I did this year in the elite, and they've been there practicing. I can't be mad about that. You can't hate on anybody for putting the effort in and working. And that's where the pride, you have to just kind of take your pride, put it in the truck and say, you know what? He earned it. As long as he's doing it within the rules. You know, when I was at Santee Cooper, I went up to Santee this year and I seen our little Japanese angler. I call him Taco. Is it Tiku? Taco? I call him Taco. I don't know. But he was going from turn to turn fishing, and I seen him down at the ramp. It's like on a Tuesday in the middle of nowhere, and there he is. Of course, me being a smart aleck I am, I was like, "Hey, how's the smallmouth bite going?" And he goes, "There's no smallmouth in here, you know." But I called Leanne going home, and I said, "The story of what he's doing is remarkable." So when he beats me, I got to shake his hand and say, "Brother, you put your time in. You didn't call somebody. You just out hustled me." And I think that's the confusion between older generation and newer generation is, oh, are they that good? Are they better than the older? Is the older? It doesn't matter. Most of the time, if they're hungry enough and they work enough, they'll find a way to beat you.
Yep. I think that's the case. They're just dealing with, I mean, they grew up with this technology. Just because the technology is there, it's not, doesn't make them any different. They're just utilizing it to the best of their ability. Just like, I think that's great advice that you can give to anybody that you want to call longer in the tooth or older in the field out there, whatever. The technology's there. It's going to be there. It's not going to go away. So learn how to use it. Put your time in as well, right?
Either embrace it or you get put out. And Ricky was around in the early days of Facebook, Instagram, when people started doing social media. And I can remember there was a direct line drawn in the sand where some guys were like, "I'm not doing that crap. I got more
Yeah.
stuff to do."
That's right.
And for whatever reason, I don't know whether I was smart or just dumb, bored in a tree stand, but I'm like, no, I'm going to know how to do it. I say, if this is where it's going, I'm going to mess around with the social media. I'm going to mess around with YouTube. People made a decision to learn, be knowledgeable, or to not. And that's all fishing is. And next year, there's going to be something new coming out. And I'm actually challenging myself in 2021. I'm going to run 2 Humminbirds, 2 Lowrances, and 1 Garmin. I'm going to learn all 3 networks, all 3 menus of all 3 companies, and try to use the best information of each one. Which, you know, at 50 years old, people say, man, I don't like change. Well, I don't always like to change neither, but if you poop your pants in the grocery store, sometimes you got to change. And I'm like, I change. I want to know what's best out there. I want to know if Lowrance has the best down imaging. I want to know if Humminbird has the best side imaging. I want to be using it. I want to use every tool that I can to compete with this younger generation. I don't want to just sit around and go, well, man, I'll tell you what. No, no. You can take medium talent and beat great talent with more hustle.
Right.
So I look at that and say, don't be out hustle, don't be out work, and don't be out learn. You gotta just sit down and learn the program.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right in what you just said, because there are guys around here that I know have the best electronics, but they don't take the time to, and myself included, don't take the time to go out there and learn them. So I think that might be the most valuable point you've made thus far, is that you got to put the time in to go learn the stuff.
People don't want to work when ain't nobody looking. This is one of the things that I preached to my nephew Trey. I said, Trey, I want you to be the kid that's fishing hard when ain't nobody looking. I want you to be the kid that's fishing hard when ain't nobody putting it on Instagram. I want you to be the young man that's fishing when it sucks, when nobody's at the ramp. Don't be afraid to work and learn when it don't count.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing. As you grow older in the sport, you get super busy. You have families, then you have grandkids, and you got so much on. It gets real easy to say, I got so much going on. I don't want to go learn a new technique, or I don't want to go learn new depth finders, but you can't. You have to say, I got to keep challenging myself. And that's one thing I preached to him. I said, if you'll fish like it's the end of the world when nobody's looking, you'll be fine. But until you can mentally and physically do that, you're going to get beat over and over again. I said, you have to fish like it's the last day of your life when ain't nobody watching.
Good point.
That's some fantastic advice that you're giving out there for sure. And you know what? We've watched you for a long time, G. How long have you been fishing now professionally?
Oh, God, you call it, man. I think I'm 21 years, honey. Yeah, welcome to the show. 22 years.
Hey, Leanne.
Hey, Leanne.
You got her hair. Show them her new puppy. Here's Watson. This is Watson Worldwide. And Mr. Jack Watson.
We got you glitched up again, G.
Uh-oh. Can you see the puppy, guys?
There he is.
Look
Hey,
at him. There he is.
That's Jane. That's Worldwide Watson right there. Watson.
That dog's will be trouble.
So you're gonna have to name him Squirrel then, if you want to call him Watson.
22 years, she said, full time, but I've been chasing it probably 30. I'll turn 51 December the 17th this year. And I told her driving home from Texas after Louisville, I was run down and beat down. I said, hey, I'm going to hunt a little bit in December and a little bit in January. I'm going to hit back on my bike in the gym. I started riding my bike to my tree stand already. I'm using an electric bike, this hybrid where I can paddle and use electric. I said, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life at 51 and do this all over. So when we talk about that grind, that's part of it. You have to keep challenging yourself, because I knew after 6 weeks of grinders, I'm not 40 anymore. I hurt in places that it wasn't. I didn't know the hair on your toes could hurt.
Well, that's just it. We literally watched you evolve and learn from you evolving. You are definitely, you're a character. We know that. Everybody knows you got a great brand yourself, and that's that sense of humor and that downright good guy vibe that you put out. But you are one of the most active anglers out there on social media. Your Instagram is killing it. And I know Leanne does a lot of that, and she's a big help out there for sure.
My wife will tell you, and we make a main thing with this. My wife helps me interact, but she will tell you. She said all the content comes from him and what he wants to do. Every now and then, if I'm fishing and I don't have great service, she'll say, I'm going to go into town. I said, well, just post on my page like it's you, but tell them. But we do a lot of that when we sit down in the morning and drink our coffees. Like in the morning, we're planning to go deer hunting together. We'll sit down and we'll do interaction together. She'll read questions. She can type faster and we'll interact. But most of the content she leaves to me. And it's like Jesse and I were hanging tree stands today, and we're working. I forget what I was doing, but it was very reckless and redneck. He goes, this would be a great social post. A lot of times I'm so into the moment, I don't do enough of it. But I try to show the fans this is who we are, the good, bad, and ugly. You try to be as real as you can with it. I try to tell people to stay positive, but I tell them, hey, guys, I struggle with this. This ain't something that I say positive mental attitude, because I'm happy every day. I'm straight up, both of y'all. Hell no, I ain't. Because I have days when I pull into the gas station, somebody's in front of me, and they won't move. I just want to put that Toyota in four-wheel drive and push them out of the way. But I check myself. I tell people the key to life is being positive and trying to stay positive, but it's only because I battle that. day in and day out. I have my days when I'm so down. My wife, she'll come in and she'll say, "You're just tired. You're worn out." And I'll come here and she said, "You don't even want to be around people." I love the fans. I love to interact, but I have days when I simply want to be alone. And so mentally, to me, it's like this in fishing. It's just a constant roller coaster. It's high and it's low, and it's high and it's low. It's trying to find that balance. And I'm not scared to show a little bit of that on Facebook and Instagram and say, "Hey, this is really who we are," knowing that everybody doesn't accept that we deer hunt and we do things like that together, and that's fine because not everybody's a hunter. They don't believe in taking something's life, but I believe in eating it. So I mean, ain't but one way it can get on the grill, and that's you got to kill. So I mean, I got to shoot them to eat them. So here we go. We're right back in that conundrum. So we had that
Gerald,
family.
talking about the negativity thing, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I remember one time we were talking and you were telling me you were going through a little dark period and you had a rubber band on your wrist. And every time you got a bad thought, you snap that rubber band. Well, let me tell you, I tried it and it hurts. It will knock you out of that.
It will. It's funny how many people have done that after I talk about it. Say, you know what, it really did change the thing because that little bit of stinging on your wrist lets your mind know, hey, I'm going negative. But I think the biggest step you make there is you are conscious of, hey, I think I'm going down a negative path. And the problem we're running into is in today's society, not just fishing, but everyday life, raising kids in 2020, virtual school, doing this, doing that, COVID, fishing, work. It's real easy to get negative. I mean, if you wake up and want news on, you want to cut your wrist with a spoon. I mean, it's just horrible. So I'm constantly trying to find a way to find something to smile about, find something good in what's going on. And that's the challenge each and every day.
Yeah, I think honestly, like you're very active on social media, but it's the content that you're giving us is what's the most inspiring. Those Monday motivational little speeches that you give, or I seriously look forward to them. I have bad days like everybody else, and a lot of times it's Sunday because I didn't get to go fishing. But on Monday, I know G-Man's going to come out with something that's going to make me feel a little bit better today.
Get ready because I'm fixing to do the 12 days of Christmas. I was sitting here thinking of that. Me and her were sitting at the farm, and I'm going through Instagram, and everybody's doing a 12 days of Christmas giveaway. And I looked over her and I was like, I think I'm going to do 12 days of Christmas, but I'm just going to give away advice. And she just kind of rolled her eyes. She went, "Oh my God." I'm like, okay,
well, I'm looking forward to that.
But, I'm gonna, it might be a little off the grid, but we're going to try. So that's one of the things we're going to do. I got, this is the place where we did the first Untold Stories. So sometime when I come to the farm, my mind reflects back to doing Untold Stories and all that. And my camera guy texts me the other day. He goes, "Hey man, we need to do." It's funny when your camera guy texts you, goes, "Hey, I drive out here from Texas if you want to do some more of those Untold Stories." So the 12 days of Christmas won't be that serious, but they're going to be. I got a lot of advice I like to give. It has no value, but I'm going to give it.
Oh, it absolutely has some value, man. Absolutely.
Oh, a ton of value. You're touching a lot of us with it. You really are.
That's man down when he's not catching. If he reaches back of the hand and scratches it, pulls it down, that ain't good. That ain't good. When you're fishing by him and he scratches the back of the head, it ain't good.
That definitely. Well, gee, we appreciate everything that you do out there, and that's why we're all fans. That's why we follow you and we enjoy everything that you're doing out there. You truly are an inspiration to a lot of us, so we want to thank you for that. But there's a whole lot of people that follow you for another reason, and that's because you're a heck of an angler. You know what you're doing out there, and there's a lot we can learn from you. So we're already getting questions. I know we love talking about this, but let's get some fishing tips from you because I know people want to know what you be doing this winter, what you're going to be doing next spring, and explain what junk fishing is, whatever it is. But we're definitely getting questions on that already. So if we're okay, let's move on to some fishing tips because that's what I want to hear too.
Do it. I mean, I can make it up. I mean, me and Jesse Wiggins was talking about catching big spotted bass today on Smith Lake. I only live 15 minutes from it. It's funny when you're hunting, buddy goes, "Hey, I can pull my boat over here and we can be at the lake in 15 minutes." Something like, it's that time when the blueback herring are getting in them ditches and guys are starting to catch them. It's been taking 17 to 20 to win every Saturday at Smith. So it's hard for me sitting up here hunting thinking, man, I could be catching them on a jerk bait and you can catch them, catch them in the bottom of them ditches. But I still think about fishing every day in the tree stand. Even when I'm setting my mind drifts, I find myself on Tackle Warehouse. I'm scrolling around. But
That's funny. Now, I mean, it's cold everywhere. It's cold here in Florida. A lot of people that if they're still able to fish right now, what should they be looking at? I know that's a lot of questions. If people are winter fishing, how do they do it? Should they just pack it up and wait till the spring, or you got some advice or some tricks that they can focus on for winter bass fishing?
Absolutely, don't pack it up. This is at prime time. I mean, most people think the fall fishing is October. But the way things have been setting up, this December bite, like around here, it's still that whole fall deal of following the shed. I mean, it's simply like it's Smith. Wherever the bait's at in the morning, that's where the fish is at. At Gunnersville right now, wherever the bait's at, that's where the fish is at. Use your depth finders. Turn everything on, man. Put side imaging on, down imaging, start looking. Wherever the baits are, they're migrating to the back of the creeks. It hasn't been as cold up here. I mean, our water temperature is still 58, 59. They're still biting the buzz bait. Still biting a big top water bait, biting a jerk. The whole time of years, just keep following the bait. They got cold enough to have a full winter pattern.
We're losing you again, G.
I getting glitchy?
Yeah. Oh, we might have lost him all the way this time, Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of caught what he was saying about it's basically, even though it's December and everyone thinks it's wintertime, the fall pattern's still working for him there. It's all about the bait still, just like it is typically in fall. He was starting to say a little bit of stuff about buzz baits, I believe. And we actually got a question from William Laws about that, about him making his buzz bait. So if he gets back, we'll ask him that one.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him back in a minute. Again, guys, sometimes we're at the mercy of the service, but we thought Gerald would be a great one for tonight. Working on it.
We get him. He's coming back.
We're hanging.
I'm trying. I'm moving around long. Should I start doing that Jason rain dance?
Yeah. If you didn't hear that, he says we'll start the Jason Christie rain dance.
Oh, no, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, we still don't have you, buddy.
All right, I'm going to run out of the porch. Hold on. Nobody panic.
See, that just like he was saying earlier, you got to do what you got to do, put your time in and your effort in to make it work, right? And that's what he's doing right now, too.
I mean, people don't understand when these guys take on. How about that?
We see and hear you now.
All right. I mean, when you guys do these live shows, there's a lot can happen. That's like a fishing day. I mean, there's a lot you don't ever know.
It can definitely go bad.
You got to roll with the punches the best that you can.
How about the question is, how about Jason Christie and Greg Hackney and Justin Atkins requalify?
It's scary. I mean, it's scary.
I had somebody in line at one of the weigh-ins. They said something about it. They said, man, I don't know about some of these guys coming back. There's been a little complaining.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I'm going right there. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
When they started complaining about it, I said, let me tell y'all something. I said, there's somebody coming. That light's going to get you. I said, there's a boy coming from Oklahoma, and he's running fast horse. He's coming. And then I totally end this after those tournaments. I've never seen Greg Hackney and Jason Christie as focused as I've seen them recall. And they were a different animal.
Yeah, we're at a great part of the conversation, but you're breaking up there.
Don't give up. I'm moving to my last seat. This is where I do my Zoom calls at. All right, that should be better right there.
Well, the audio is good now.
How about that?
Yep, I got you now.
I was saying that I've never seen Jason Christie and Hackney as focused as I've seen them through the opens this year. My wife at Neely Henry, they go rolling out that morning, Rick. We're getting ready to we're taking the cover off. And it's first morning of the tournament. And my wife looked at me. She said, "Oh, my God, I'm so glad we don't have the pressure on us he has." And I turned to her and said, "He lives for it. He lives for it."
Yeah.
I said, "When you've done this long enough, the pressure's the only thing that fuels you. You've done it." I said, "Trust me, he's digging it," and he did it. So I was proud of them guys to come back.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know who's going to come back next year, who's going to be hard on it next year and will requalify as Prize, which is another one that's.
He was close this year. I seen, he was disappointed, man. I seen him that last day at Louisville. Like, G ain't happy.
He's deadly.
You got time.
That's right. What next, Mikey? I know you got a ton of questions for Gerald.
Yeah, we started talking about before we lost your audio there about just like the winter fishing, but you mentioned I heard the word buzzbait come out there at some point out there, and we did get a question on that coming from William Laws here. He wants to know if you made your own from scratch.
I cheat a little bit. I take the original War Eagle head, 3/8 ounce War Eagle head, and then I put a 1/2 ounce blade on it, the inline blade, not the one that comes factory on that bait. I shortened the wire just a little bit. I started that whole S curve in the wire to get the hook a little lower to the water, and then I put the Zoom Z crawl on there. So I take the component, I get the head straight from what used to be War Eagle. I take their same head, and then I build the rest of it.
There you go. But you're still throwing buzzbaits.
But most people, when they build a buzzbait like the ones you buy in the store, the wire's too light. So the lighter the wire is, the less like if you have a real small diameter wire through the buzzbait blade, even the inline blade, the blade doesn't touch the wire in enough places to make the right amount of noise. So you really want the stiffest wire buzzbait you can have, just so it has more contact with the blade. So that kind of what you get down to.
Do you do any more customizing to it to like make it squeal more, or
that pot rivet up? I don't like to tell everybody that. That's kind of like sending your buddies pictures of your new girlfriend. They go try to take them, but I take a pair of needle nose pliers and I bend that pot rivet up in 2 places to make a real sharp edge hit the bottom of that one. I was throwing my buzzbait at Louisville, and that guy in the back of the boat, he said, "I'll give you this." He said, "You ain't caught one on it yet, but I ain't never heard one squealing like that." He said, "It sounds like a bunch." I said, "Dude, I can make one sound good. If there's a bass in here, he ought to buy it."
Well, there you go. No, we don't want you to give away all your secrets there, because you never know who's listening to it out there. But we appreciate what you do tell us. That's for sure.
You got it.
No, what kind of water? We'll talk about water temperatures while we're waiting for more questions to come in here and whatnot. Is right now you're probably sitting in the mid 50s or something like that?
At about 59 at Smith Lake, and about the same at Gunnersville. And like on that, just talking like that buzzbait, people think like, when does it go? 2 different temperatures that a buzzbait kicks in. In the spring, I'm looking for 54 to 56 degree water to start throwing a buzzbait. But in the fall, going backwards, I have giant sacks in 52 degree water. Mid 50s, the breaking point, but in the fall, you can cheat and get a little lower temperature, and they'll still bite at 52, 53. In the spring, you need 54 to 56.
Very good. So that's definitely something. And is there a time or a temperature where top water is done? You just throw it anymore?
I would truly say under about 52 to 51, it starts going away. Like you really struggle. Like you spend too much time trying to get a bite. It's not even worth it.
Now, Ricky kind of touched on this earlier and said you're a self-professed junk fisherman. There might be some folks out there that don't know what junk fishing is. What is junk fishing to you?
I tell people all the time, they'll say, "Man, they'll have 15 or 20 rods out on the front deck, and they'll say, 'Gee, I'm junk fishing,' and I'm looking over like, 'No, you're not. You confused, bro. You confused. When you got that many rods, it's just slap chaos.'" Junk fishing is be able to take 4 or 5 rods from different ends of the spectrum. So a guy may have a DT20 tied on, a shaking head, a jerk bait, and a 3-inch Kitech swim bait, and fishing ledges with it. He can most any technique without warming up. Just pick it up and throw it. But when you're junk fishing, you take 4 or 5 rods, let them on the deck. You're going down fishing, and you know exactly when to pick that, throw it, make 2 casts with it, put it back down. It's being able to see a target, analyze it, know which bait to throw, pick it up, do it, put it back down, and continue what you're doing. When you got 20 rods out, all you're doing is tripping and being confused. So there's a big difference. Junk fisherman is just using diversity, different baits, and saying, hey, I'm going to throw this. I may have a shaking head laying there in every tournament of every day and only throw it 4 or 5 times. But when I see the perfect scenario, I'm going to pick it up and do my very, very best to make one good cast and catch a bass and move on.
Right.
Yep. That's that one cast lure that you got on there. That what if question, I guess. We got a question here from Bob Albert, and Bob wants to know, when do you start using a square bill, then change over to something like a DT6?
Man, that's a good question there, Bob. A square bill is going to run you good all the way down in the fall till that water temperature gets down to about 52, and then it's going to start leaving you. You can catch them on a DT6 plenty good through the mid-50s, but once it gets below about 51 or 52, you're going to want to take a lot of that vibration out and get back down to a more natural kind of feel on the bait, not as much vibration like a DT6. No rattle, super quiet, super natural. So that even after that, if you get down below 47 or 46, you're going to want to go with a shad wrap, something that has a real natural vibration, not really erratic in the water. But a square bill, 54 to 55 degree water, you're still fine. Once you get below that, you better be throwing a DT6 or a shad wrap.
There we go. That definitely great advice on that. All right, so we haven't got too many more questions on there. Lucky 7 Baits says that they're working on a 50 strand jig weed guard for you.
Yeah, I wish somebody would. If anybody's watching this and they want to make my own signature series flipping jig, I have been through 98 companies and nobody wants to build one like I want, so I won't fish it. To have a flipping jig, you need a 45 or 50 strand weed guard. Everybody's like, oh my God, that's too stiff. No, it ain't. Weed guards is like Jeff Creek's hair. I mean, you can pull them out, but you can't put them back in. So why not start out with 50, pull 5 out if you don't need them? But if it's hanging every cast, you can't do anything with it. So I'm an old school guy that says the stiffer the weed guard, the better off you are. Like, are you not worried about it being too stiff? No, I'm gonna hit that gym. I'm gonna get my hook sit in, but I don't want to come up to a brush pile or a big tree and say, oh my God, that's just too much. I want to flip around the edges. No. Oh, I want to go right to the center of it, and I don't want to hang it up.
That's great. Well, those are my buddies down there. They're from South Florida, Lucky 7 Baits, and they make some really nice stuff. So I'll get you hooked up with them, and hopefully they can get you that 50 strand weed guard for you.
You got it. Ricky, I want to ask you a question. How's your boy doing? I'll say.
Gerald, he's doing good, fishing all the time. But the one that's scary is my 15-year-old. I don't even know if you met him yet or not. But no. You talk about ate up with it. Man, I thought Nicholas had it bad. Ain't even close. So Zachary's 15, and he's been fishing a bunch of tournaments, fishing against Nicholas, and it's been fun to watch. But the other night, this is a quick little story. I've been letting him. Nicholas runs an Express with a 250 on it. So Zachary's got a G3 with a 90 on it because we live here on the James River, and it's can be hard on a fiberglass boat.
Yeah.
So the other day, Zachary took the G3 out with a couple of his buddies. And he called me from the boat ramp, and he's like, Dad. I could hear he was panicked. I guess they was coming up the river and hit something about 50 mile an hour, and that thing hooked and did a 180 on him. He said, I'm never driving that boat again. He said, and he's got a full-blown mullet, and he's in love with Seth Fighter. Oh, yeah, that Seth's his man.
Oh, my God. He's one of them kids on TikTok that's dropping that hair and throwing that mullet around, ain't he?
You probably seen him on it.
Hey, I fool around on TikTok. I ain't no dummy. When it come out, I said, I'm going to learn it. But them boys with that TikTok and that mullet, that's something else. But one thing about them boys, if they on that water, man, as long as they on that water, they ain't going to be behind that jail cell too much. And that's one thing I tell everybody, the parents, say, man, all my kid wants to do is hunt or fish. I'm like, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
Yep. Absolutely. What's that old line? Drop the Xbox, pick up a tackle box, get your butt outside.
Yep. Hey, we need more lily pads and less of them iPads. That's what I'm talking about.
There we go. I like that one. I'm going to steal that.
But heck, I guess you remember Nicholas filming for me when he was what 10 or 12 years old.
He was up to hold the camera.
Yeah, he's turned into a hell of a young man. That I'm super proud of him.
How old is he now,
Sure.
Ricky?
25, just turned 25.
Good God, I'm old. That's something else, man. So,
And hopefully we'll sign him up for the Opens. The Eastern Division of the Opens this year. Hopefully that's the plan at least.
That'll be awesome, man. That'll be awesome. My battery just dropped down to 10%. So if I go out, y'all.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. G, Mike, you got anything else for him?
I got one last question that just popped up here, and I think it's a great one, and I'll kind of expand on it a little bit. But that Mosier boy was asking, what bait or lure would you recommend for a new bass fisherman fishing the winter out there? I'll expand on that a little bit more. I'll just say, because we're running out of time here, we don't want to keep you too long or anything. If you only had 3 baits or 3 rods that you can bring out to go winter fishing, what are they? What are the baits you would put on or you would tie on?
Rod, you're going to need you're going to need a shaking head. You're going to need a 1/4 ounce jig head. You're going to need a 6-inch green pumpkin zoom trick worm, green pumpkin blue flake. If I just really want to throw it out there, because I have like 2 colors in my boat. It's red bug and green pumpkin blue flake. Get you a shaking head. Get you some 10-pound sunline. Put you some braid on the back of it, some 10-pound braid, some SX1. Put you some fluorocarbon on it. Tie you a good FG knot. And throw that shaking head everywhere you go in the wintertime. Fish it slow. You want to shake the slack. Don't shake the worm. Shake the slack. If your worm's jumping around like one of them girls wearing one of my whitey-tighty bathing suits on TikTok that's jumping around too fast, slow her down. It's cold in the winter. Shaking head and fish slow. If you're going to crank, you want a Shad Rap or a DT6. Outside of that, you want to mess around with a jerk bait a little bit. I've been throwing that new deep diving 13 jerk bait. The one they have is super diving. It really does have a lot of great action. Not a great jerkbait fisherman, it'll do it for you. But the key to jerkbait fishing is you got to let it sit. So when you go to that next level, be patient. Shaking head off.
There we go. That's some great advice. Those are those 3 rods that you need. So hopefully that helped you out, that Mosier boy. And guys, we appreciate all the questions that we've been getting for G-Man here. It's been a great time, but he is running low on battery.
I see Chad. You see Chad just popped up and said, where can we get them PMA bracelets? Get them off the website. You can go in there and order them, ship them out. We're working on a whole line of PMA clothing. Y'all seeing this? This is my Triple B buddy. This is my buddy's hat right there on Facebook, Zach Russian. But all my PMA on my website, you can order it from there. And everybody who's buying it, thank you. Everybody who has changed my life, I'm getting the stories. That's remarkable. Ricky and Mike, before it goes out, I want to say thanks for having me on. It's always good to see you guys. Even though COVID's taking a toll, it's good to see you guys. And I'll look, at the first tournament. I don't know, Ricky, which one I'll see yet, whether it be the Classic or the first Elite. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Mikey lives right there in Jacksonville, so I'm planning on being there. He'll be there, and we will come to as many of them as we can get to this year. The scheduling is just a conflict. You understand my position where I'm at, and we got to do what we got to do.
You got to get them bills paid, son.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Hey, in the fishing world, you'll be a hoe or you'll be po. You're going to go. Yes, that's what you do.
Well, one last thing, G-Man, because we appreciate you so much. Where can these folks find you if they're not already following you? Where should they look to find some more G?
You can find me on TikTok. Everybody needs to be checking out my YouTube page. I'm really pushing the Gerald Swindle YouTube. I'm starting to work on some new deals. I'm setting up some tips and tactics, common sense stuff. We're going to be filming some new untold stories. It's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on there. I'm pushing 100,000 followers. I ain't put no bikini on yet, but I ain't saying I won't.
But he will.
Hey, one thing you need to do for us is you and Leanne need to go download the Bass365 Live app. Brand new. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. It's been a 3-year project, but we got some things coming on there I think you'll be excited about as well.
I'm going to do that when I sit down in the tree stand. I'm going to click and download so I can check you out and see what's going on. Tell your kids I said hello, Ricky. Tell them to get on the water and get it done.
I will, Hammer. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you in Florida in a few weeks.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you so much, G. There we go.
Well, Mikey, we had some challenges, but Great show. Gerald is the man.
Despite the issues that we had to do with the Wi-Fi, and that's just what you have to deal with sometimes, especially when he's out there on his farm and everything like that. But hey, you know what? He's still got some great information out there. We had some great responses from our guests today, and from all our fans that are out there watching. Awesome questions. Thank you guys so much for getting involved with that. I want to give a personal thank you to Lucky 7 Baits. They are good friends of mine out there, and his entire team was out here watching us and helping us out today. So thank you so much. He sent me a message earlier that he would do that, and I appreciate that so very much. Hopefully, G can hook you up with one of those, or you can hook G up with one of those new 50 strand weed guards. So thanks so much, Lucky 7. We appreciate that very much for you guys. But for the rest of you guys, the questions, fantastic. Another great show. We and they're just going to get better and better. So make sure you keep those questions coming and keep on following us. Make sure you get your notification set. But the easiest way to do that, Ricky, you mentioned it already. That's the app.
Yeah, I mean it's the response to the app's been overwhelming. We put a lot of work into it, and I'm thinking everybody's liking it. Yeah. Two things I wanted to say real quick, Mikey. We always plug the store. We're having a little technical issue on the store right now, but that should be up and running tomorrow at the latest. The other thing is we want, we've been talking about trying to bring one of you guys on to talk to the guests. So send us a message, who you'd like to see and who you'd like to talk to. And, we're going to start trying to integrate that into this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because, it's one of the best things about doing these lives with these pros is just having the access to them to be able to ask these questions and have them answer them in real time. Even better yet, you got a story you want to share. Let's get contacted. Send us a message. We'll figure it out, and we'll get you on the show so you can ask these pros yourself. Who wouldn't want to spend 10 minutes with G-Man? That's an amazing day.
Right. And Mike, it looks like we missed a question from Blackhawk. What's the best soft plastic craw? And Blackhawk, I apologize. That one slipped by me. I didn't see it. I'm just sorry. It's a lot going on here behind the scenes that you guys can't see, but we're trying to get all the questions answered. And I will personally call G and get him to answer that question for me, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure. So any of these broadcasts, just like this one, it's going to remain up on YouTube. It's going to be on the Bass365 app. So if you're not already there, you can do that. And we'll actually we'll try to get G to answer that question, and we'll post it on one of these. We'll put it in the comments to answer to your question there, Blackhawk. Apologize, but he was running out of battery, and we were having connection issues. So unfortunately, we didn't get to everything on there, but that's a good question. That's going to be a tough one to answer anyway. So I'd rather him answer it than us try to answer something.
That's right. I mean, a speed crawl would be my guess. That would be his choice, but I'll find out and let you know for sure.
He's a Zoom guy, and they got a whole bunch of different ones. So I'm not even sure. I'm not even going to try to answer for him. That's his. That's all him. Yeah.
So definitely. Brent wanted to know. It just popped up on there and say, can we do messages on the app yet? Not like on Facebook. You can do private messages, but you cannot do the instant messaging type stuff on the app yet. That's coming, but we got to take baby steps.
Yeah, but the app is growing so fast, and every day it's going to continue to evolve. And that input, just like that, is what we need to hear. How we can make it better. But honestly, the way this app is going to improve and get better and better is the more involved you guys get. So the more you that download it, there's that social media feed on there. Go ahead, register for that, and start posting your own content. You can comment on other people's content, whatever it is, but that is how it's really going to evolve, as well as we'll take care of all the news and the information and the breaking stuff out in the professional world. But we want to hear your take on everything too. And we want to see your catches, and we want to hear your stories. And that's exactly why we built this app that is literally no more social media clutter, just for fishing. So the Bass365 live app is there. It's available, and it's getting big. It's getting big fast.
That's right, Mikey. All right, look, man, it's time to shut this thing down. Appreciate everybody being here. Tuesday night, we're going to have David Dudley on talking about
Heck yeah.
active target.
I am super stoked for that. David Dudley is just he's a great guy. He does a good job in front of the cameras or whatever, but this active vision from Lowrance, this is, I can't wait to see it. Is he going to actually show it to us?
There's actually a video on Bass365 now that I posted today of him giving a tutorial on it.
Cool.
I don't think we'll better get him on the water. I just want to have him talk a little bit about it, and I'm sure we'll get into some fun stuff with David.
Yeah, absolutely.
I promise you we will.
So that's Tuesday, guys. So again, if you're not already following, make sure you're following us on all the platforms: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. The Bass365 live app is there, and of course, Bass365.com on the web. Some great information out there. I actually haven't had a chance to see that yet. He's got the Lowrance Activision. He's actually got to use it. He's got it in his possession.
Yeah, it's on the boat.
Oh, man.
Showing how it works, and well worth the watch.
I can't wait. Can't wait to check that out. So there it is, guys. If you're really curious about the Activision, the newly announced Activision from Lowrance, we got a video on Bass365.com right now where you can check it out in person. But on Tuesday, we got the man himself, David Dudley, coming right here on LiveCast. So set your notifications. Get ready for it.
All right, Mikey, let's shut it down, man. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate all the questions, and we look forward to talking to you again. We cannot I'm sorry, I just saw something. We cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you very much for coming, and we will see you again on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, and go get a line wet. We'll see you guys later.